Well, 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 look what the Neko dragged in. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a good minute. Lots of change, lots of stuff going on, and I just wanted to pop on here and update you. So, I am filming from my brand new Japanese apartment. I'm loving it here. It's been such a great experience so far, but I just wanted to take a minute and answer some questions. I reached out to everyone on Facebook and on Instagram, and thank you all for sending me some great questions. I do have some videos coming down the pike, like some ideas I'd like to explore, but I thought I'd rather just send you guys an update, let you know how I'm doing, and answer some questions. So let's just jump into it. So the first question is, oh, I have my questions on my laptop. They're just off screen. So if you're curious what I'm looking at, that's what it is. Um, how is life living in a different time zone? Um, it was rough at first. The jet lag was rough at first. I have never really experienced jet lag that bad. So Japan is 14 hours ahead of Canada. So just to give you an example, 9 p.m. Canada time is 11 a.m. Japan time. Yeah, it took some time to adjust. I was getting like super exhausted at like 3 p.m. and waking up at 4 a.m. for a bit. But after about a week and a half, I settled in. So far, so good. So the next question, it's actually three in one. So I'll kind of break it up into each one of the three questions. The first question is, do they speak a lot of English there? So that's I mean, surprisingly more than I expected. Often, not all the time, but often, like machines will have like a English button that you can press and it'll translate whatever you're like, and by machines I mean like self-checkouts, ATMs, that kind of stuff. Normally there's an English option and it'll translate for you. Or there'll be pictures. So you can kind of guess by what the pictures are. Like there'll be a bill and some coins, and you can tell, okay, that means cash. And then there'll be a picture of a card, and okay, that means credit or debit. So for the most part, most people in Japan have at least like a rudimentary understanding of English because they've all taken it in grade school. So if you can really break what you're saying down to like very, like instead of saying, hi, can I have a bag, please? If you can just say bag, bag, then they'll probably catch on to what you're saying. Um, but then again, every once in a while, I'll go somewhere and someone will speak fluent English, and I'll be like, whoa, okay, surprise, awesome. And sometimes it'll be the most mundane, simple situation, and there will not only be no English, but no ability to interact with foreigners. And I'd say that's probably been one of the biggest culture shock moments, but I'll talk to that later. Do you know any Japanese? So before coming, I knew like a handful of phrases like "Ohayo gozaimasu," "Sumimasen," "Konnichiwa," "Konbanwa," "Kanpai," like a handful. Since being here, I've learned a few more. I am kind of tempted to make like a list of like maybe the top 10 things you need to know. Like the top 10 like Japanese easy phrases that you just have to be here. Like some of them, wakarimasen, like I don't understand. You'd be surprised how often you say that. Nihongo I hanemasen, I believe. That means I don't speak Japanese, which is another important one. And then daijobu, which means that's okay. Like, that's okay. That one comes, the amount of times that I just say daijobu, like, that's okay, like, no worries, like, stop. Like, is awesome. Like, it's insane. And then how do you communicate? So that is, like I said before, like I usually either just try and talk to them really slowly, like break it down. And I've been really accelerating my Japanese knowledge. I'm a visitor in Japan, so I think the burden should be on me to learn Japanese. It shouldn't be their job to just know English. This is their country. This is a non-English speaking country, and I'm burdening them by not knowing their language. So I feel like I really need to step up to the plate. Most of the times, hand signals, Google Translate is a godsend. But again, on Google Translate, I don't write, no, I do not need to take a bag with my purchase today. I just say, no bag. Like, what about, yeah, bag. Like, but you know, like really boil it down to simple terms. And it's really been helpful. Room tour, that's the next question. Room tour, eventually. I finally think that I kind of have everything set up. The first 2 weeks was really just getting into the apartment, acclimatizing, getting the stuff I need, getting some really important, urgent materials. I visited the Pokemon Center. I mean, if you want to see more or hear more about that, please. I dropped some pictures in my story, but it was an experience. But yes, that's to come. To come. I feel like that's really the thing that's gonna be the most exciting. So I'm gonna tease it out a little bit. So the next question is, how is the new job? So, how is the new job? Is it any harder than you thought? Have you made new friends? So the new job is great. Everyone has been really welcoming. It's fun. The kids are great, and I I'm meeting a lot of kids that are just so excited to speak English and so excited to see someone different. Um, you get a lot of people just stopping in the street or stopping in the hallway and just staring at you and like and like pointing and like like so shocked because they may have never seen a foreigner before. And I mean, because there is a lot of foreigners who come into Japan to teach English, but not a lot of them look like me. So there might be foreigners who are Taiwanese or are Filipino and are obviously different, but not as different as I look because I'm white and I have dirty blonde hair and dirty blue eyes. So I look more like what they think a foreigner looks like. So they're just so like, whoa. But it's been so sweet. I've only really worked a couple weeks because right now I'm on winter break, but it's been nice. Like everyone is so helpful, everyone is so sweet. And it's really been like just so wonderful so far. And it's not any harder than I thought. I guess the only thing that's harder than I thought was that it is very kind of roll with the punches. Like it's really not super structured. And by that I mean I don't know what I'm doing sometimes until I'm doing it. So like I'll go into a class, my laptop, for example, I have a MacBook. The school I had no way to connect my laptop to any of the devices in the school. So I was meant to do a PowerPoint introduction of like Canada and there was nothing. So then I just had to like draw pictures on the board and just do hand gestures and be like hockey and I don't know, beaver and like it was nonsense. But we figured it out, and that's kind of just what the name of the game is. Have you made any new friends? I have made some new friends. A lot of them come from kind of the Canadian group that I departed with. And then there's like a really cool like teacher in one of the schools who's really sweet, and I'm really getting along well with her. And then there's a couple of the English teachers that are here already in my area that are really sweet and I'm getting to know. But yeah, like so far so good. Like everyone's been really nice, everyone's been really welcoming and helpful. So the next question is kind of building off the Japanese communication question is how are you adjusting to living in a country where English isn't the first language? So English isn't not only the first language, it's not the second language. Like a lot of places either have like Korean or Mandarin or Cantonese or like other Eastern languages kind of on signs or on kiosks. Like English, I would say is like the third, fourth, fifth language, if any. But like there are, like I said previously, a lot of people have like at least a very like can say a handful of words. They probably are as good at English as I am at Japanese, which is not saying a lot because I'm pretty terrible at Japanese. um, Overall, I'm adjusting pretty well. I'm quickly understanding, like, for example, when I go to a store, they have like they will say something, then there'll be the same kind of question, then another type of question, and then you pay. So I'm kind of learning the patterns and like what response needs to happen. Um, so I don't actually really know what they're saying. I just know kind of like the rubric, and then I'm just kind of cramming what little Japanese I know in the spaces. But yeah, so far so good. And thankfully, there's an amazing angel from my kind of contracting organization who is great to help with translating if I'm in a jam. Like I can call her and be like, like I'm stuck, help," and then I'll just pass the phone and they'll talk Japanese and figure it out. I'm very very lucky in that respect, but I really try and use that as sparingly as possible because I just don't want to burden her with my foreignness. So biggest culture shock moment. Um, I would say I've done a lot of research into Japan. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I've heard about before, and then I see it, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah, that really is what it is here. Or, oh, like, oh, that's interesting. Like, okay, I've heard about this, but I didn't really know it happened in this way. Or, like, but I think the only real thing that's been like a mind bend for me and has been probably the thing I've had the hardest time adjusting to is kind of leaning back to all the questions about Japanese and English and how I'm managing. Because I come from Canada, Canada is so diverse and there's so many different types of people. And having worked in retail management for so long, so often I would face people who didn't speak English or spoke another language or had broken English, or we had to be creative with how we would communicate. And I I was always kind of prepared to do that. It didn't happen every day. It wasn't nonstop, but you had you you kind of knew that to expect difference in people. Whereas here, difference is not expected. Uniqueness is not expected. Um, I was at one crosswalk. Me and a friend had gone to IKEA, and IKEA Japan is like, girl, it's lit. Like hit up IKEA Japan. But we were crossing the crosswalk, and it was packed, and everyone coming towards us, it like I don't know how to say it in a way that doesn't sound non PC, but it's like in Canada, you would see so many different races. When you're next time you're at a crosswalk, a big busy intersection, look at all the people on the other side. You're probably going to notice people from all over the world just on the other side of the street from you. Here, it's very jarring to just see so much similitude. Like I'm used to seeing so much diversity, so to see none is shocking. But that also plays into how I interact with the world. So when I go shopping or go to a grocery store, people not only are staring at me and shocked to see me because I look different than everyone else, um, when they're faced with not with me not being able to speak Japanese, they just freeze. Some people, like they're good and they can kind of roll with the punches. But one time I went to the convenience store and she was asking me if I wanted a bag, but I didn't know that a bag for my purchase. And I didn't know that. She didn't do anything to give me any impression that what she was asking was if I wanted a bag. She just said the words to me, which makes sense. She's in Japan. She's going to speak Japanese. And I looked at her and I said, like, wakarimasen. I said, I don't understand. And then she looked at me again and she just repeated it. And I was like, I still don't understand. Like, you just said the same thing twice to me. I don't know. And then she just, like, uh, like she just kind of shut down and had no idea how to navigate this situation because I clearly didn't speak Japanese and she had no tools or expectation of tools to interact with someone who was different than her. So I just kind of, yeah, it was like, oh wow, like this, I might be one of the few times that she's had someone interacting with her in the way that I was interacting with her. because, you know, all Japanese people, there is not a ton of diversity here. She just didn't have the tools. She couldn't connect like, okay, I can't use language. What else can I use? I can use gestures. I can use signals. I can pick it up. I can show it. I can sign language. Like I can find some other way. She just didn't know what to do and she just shut down. So that I would say is the biggest culture shock for me is just how non-diverse it is to such an extreme level. Have you been to any JAV stores? No. Plans for Christmas and New Year's Eve. So it's now New Year's Eve. Christmas isn't really a thing here. I don't know how to relate it because when you go out, you can see things that say like Merry Christmas, or you can see a little Christmas tree or something. But there isn't, it's not the same. Like the best way I can equate it to is like St. Patrick's Day. Like it's a holiday, like people celebrate it, but it's really like nothing. It's like in Canada when you would walk around the mall and St. Patrick's Day, maybe you'd see a little clover here or there and maybe some green, and maybe some stores might have a, a themed product, but it wasn't very common. That's kind of what it's like here. It's super pared back. Which I knew. I knew that Christmas wasn't really a thing here, but I guess I didn't expect how much I would miss Christmas, like how much I would miss the spectacle. But I do have to give Japan this. They have these gorgeous things called illuminations. I don't know how good my video editing is going to be if I can put pictures of some illuminations up for you. I don't, I'm, if I can, then you better be hitting that subscribe button because God knows I figured something out. I fandangled something. But those are really gorgeous and beautiful. They're like big light shows, like Christmas lights, but on crack, like insane. So I plan on seeing some of those at least. For New Year's Eve, New Year's is like a really big holiday in Japan, but doesn't really celebrate the same way Canada does. It's very much about like kind of cleansing away the old year and welcoming in the new year. It's a lot of Japanese people will visit shrines and will make kind of resolutions. It has kind of like the same themes as us, but in the West we kind of just like party and get drunk and have fireworks and streamers and woo, like it's like a party. Whereas what in Japan, it seems like a lot more about like reflection and meditation and thinking and planning and hoping and wishing. It seems a lot more cerebral and kind of meditative and reflective. It seems a lot more that. How was the first night in your new apartment? So, I mean, I'll give you a sneak peek, I guess. Like, if you want to look up there, that is where I sleep. I have a loft bed, so I sleep on a futon, which is not like a Canadian futon. It's like a Japanese style futon, so I sleep on the floor. Um it's nice actually. I find I actually sleep better. The first night was a little rough. Like it took me a while to kind of get my bearings and figuring out what position works well in this new sleeping position, and you know, having the ceiling this close to my head where at any minute I could just and knock myself out. That was a learning curve, but no, really pleasant actually. And I think once I finally had my first night here, it kind of started to feel real and I could kind of like just relax. How awful was the quarantine? I actually really liked it. I like to have some alone time. I like to be by myself and just relax. It was also kind of a blessing in disguise because it gave me a lot of time to manage the jet lag. I could kind of just sleep and, you know, like it was pleasant, and the hotel was really nice. The food was bearable most of the time. I was kind of hoping to do a video just kind of going over all of that. Let me know if you guys are interested in just getting like a full video kind of describing the Japanese quarantine experience, because it's been a thing for like years now. Like it's, you know, it's sad to say years that COVID has been going on for years. Years. I don't know. That hurts me. Um, and how are your flights? Oh, damn. they didn't feel so bad. They didn't feel so bad. It was a lot. I literally was traveling for 24 hours straight, through 3 different time zones. Like, it was a lot. Again, another video that I want to do is just the travel experience, all the things you have to do to even be able to board the plane to come to Japan. And then once you land in Japan, all the craziness that happens as soon as you land. It is like dystopian future kind of crap. I don't even know how to explain. I think I did 5 COVID tests. Like, it was, it's crazy. If you want a video of me just going through the whole quarantine experience, drop it in the comments, because girl, it's a saga. Favorite meal so far? Oh, I don't even know. Geez. Okay, so we kind of went, me and a couple Canadians went downtown to this really cute, kind of a hole in the wall ramen place. I'll pop some pictures on again if I have the capacity to do so. And it was I don't remember what, I think it was like called Taki Soba, Taki, can't remember. But it's like 2 bowls. So you get like a bowl of like cold udon noodles and then a bowl of like hot ramen broth. And then you transport the cold noodles into the broth. And you can kind of just eat it right away. The cold noodles kind of kill off the heat of the ramen, so it kind of becomes room temperature as you eat it. So it's very eatable, very delicious, very, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I felt satisfied, but I didn't feel full, and it was very savory and delicious, but I didn't feel overwhelmed or like, oh, like that gross feeling. I'm trying to think of what else has been so good. I mean, sushi, obviously, like, this is Japan. This is the land of the sushi. It's gonna be good. Um, been to a lot of takoyaki places, so like places where like Korean grill almost, where you put the meat on the grill and you cook it fresh. Really good. I gotta say, desserts are hard to find. Desserts, like, it's just not. It's hard to find that like rich, deep flavor that you can find in a lot of dessert. That rich, deep sweetness, that is like, I have yet to find it, and I'm praying. If you have recommendations, please pop them in the comments, because I need me some yummy in my tummy sweet sugar goodness real fast. That's, I think, what I'm missing the most so far. That and Diet Coke. There is no Diet Coke in Japan. I am telling you again. You know what? Screw that other culture shock. There is no Diet Coke in Japan. I am shook. I am so shocked. I am hurt. It's homophobic, and I am lodging a formal complaint to the Japanese government. This is unacceptable, and I'm not okay with it. Well, anyway, that is the video. Tried to go through a bunch of your questions. I just wanted to let everyone know I have landed, I am doing good, and I am adjusting, and I'm really starting to feel like home now. It's been a bumpy, exhausting, stressful, crazy few like weeks since being out of quarantine, and it's really been an experience. So like I said, I have a few ideas for videos coming up, kind of my quarantine experience, maybe a tour of my quarantine hotel, what it was like getting to Japan, the flight process, what it was like landing in Japan. There's so much to share. So if any of that sounds exciting to you, please hit that subscribe button. And if you have any suggestions or anything you want to see, please put that in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. You get the gist. But thanks so much for tuning in. I miss everyone back in Canada, and I hope that you're having I hope you've had an amazing holiday. Jerry Chrysler, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later.